Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Influence Podcast. I'm Jordan Banderas, and before we begin, don't forget to hit that follow, subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my episodes. So, I've been married for almost 9 years. I know it feels like a long time, but I have learned a lot during the last 9 years, and one of the things that I've noticed is that building and keeping a strong relationship in today's fast-paced world can be pretty tough. A lot of people are struggling. They're getting married, they're getting divorced, they're getting in relationships, they break up. There's too many fights. There's so many things happening within the relationship. And because of this, people are always wondering what it takes to create a bond that lasts and find someone they can actually spend the rest of their life with. But here's the thing. The answer for a lot of us is literally right in front of us. And that answer is so simple that it took me 3 years to find it, actually. And this is after I got married. And I'm talking about communication. That's right. This is very important when it comes to the foundation of a relationship. You need to learn how to communicate. You need to literally be able to articulate what you're trying to say, because effective communication isn't just about talking. It's about truly listening and understanding your partner's thoughts and feelings, which is important, but it's also about creating a space where both of you can express yourselves without feeling judged, which is also important, because if you start feeling judged by your partner, you're gonna get mad, because nobody likes that feeling, right? But unfortunately, this is the key to building a strong foundation for your relationship. You have to create a space where you don't feel judged, the other person doesn't feel judged. You guys can talk, you guys can actually listen. And I want to share this with you guys, because when my wife and I started dating at first, we had to deal with a lot of problems. One of the biggest problems that I had was my poor English, because my English wasn't good enough back then. Now it's a lot better. But because of this, it made it super hard for me to say what I felt or thought. So this caused a lot of misunderstandings, because I didn't know how to say things. And sometimes when I was trying to say things, I would say them in a mean way, or the only way that I knew how to say them, and they will come out the wrong way. So my wife will feel offended, and that will make me frustrated and angry. So I was snappy, and my wife wouldn't even want to talk to me because of that, because I didn't know how to respond whenever she wanted to talk to me. But here's the thing though. I was determined to improve my language and communication skills, especially after my wife got sick. And the thing about this is that my wife actually is the one that helped me by correcting me every time I said something wrong. And over time, I felt more confident in my ability to speak English. And I honestly believe that this is something that a lot of guys and women too have to do. What I did in this situation, I told my wife, hey, listen, I don't know how to speak English correctly. I know that I'm mixing words, I'm saying the wrong words, but I need you to help me. If I'm not able to say something correctly, correct me. If I'm struggling saying something, I want you to ask me probing questions so we can figure out what exactly I'm trying to say. And that actually helped me a lot. And as my skills improve, our relationship got better too, because we started to understand each other better and our conversations became more meaningful. I didn't feel judged or embarrassed anymore, and my wife appreciated my efforts to improve, because she didn't feel judged or embarrassed, and she didn't feel like I was coming at her. One of the things that I like to do as well, especially if they're going through this whole process, is to look back at everything that I've done, because I'm actually grateful that I didn't give up on improving my communication skills, because it not only helped me become more confident, but it also made our relationship stronger and more understanding. And I want to share this story with you guys because this shows why communication is important, and being able to understand what your partner is saying is important. Because in this story that happened a few years ago between my wife and I, she wasn't understanding me. She was having trouble understanding what I was saying for some reason. So what happened was that we have this big money tree, and it was time to move the tree from one pot to the next, to a bigger pot, right? This was after she got sick. She was in a lot of pain, and I think she actually had a surgery a few weeks before. So I was like, you know what? I can help you. What do you need help with? And she's like, oh, well, I need to do this. I need to move the tree from this pot to this other pot. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But I've never done it, so I don't know what I'm doing. I need you to tell me exactly what I need to do step by step. She's like, okay, let's do it. So we got the tree out of the first pot. I have it in my hands. I'm not putting it on the other pot. I'm like, okay, what's next? I don't know what I'm doing. And because I'm just holding it in the air, just like this, my wife starts to freak out. She's like, you're going to kill the tree. You're going to kill it. Put it in the pot. I'm like, I don't know how. I'm trying to put it in the pot like she was telling me, and it wasn't fitting. And my wife is freaking out. She's like, you're going to kill the tree. It's going to die. It's going to die. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me what I need to do. Do I need to make a hole bigger or what? I don't know what I'm doing. Just tell me what I need to do. And she's like freaking out. And at that point, I realized that she wasn't understanding me. I was like, okay, let's take a step back. I'm telling you, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm expecting you to give me guidance on what I need to do so I can plant the tree on the new pot. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, you know what? You need to tell me what I need to do because I never done it. And then it finally hit her. She's like, wait, you really don't know what you're doing? I'm like, yes, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So I'm helping you, but I need your guidance. And she's like, I thought you were kidding. I'm like, why would I be kidding about that? I know there are guys that lie saying, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, or they just do it the wrong way. So our wives or our partners and even our moms don't ask us for help anymore. But in this situation, I wasn't doing that. I'm like, I really don't know what I'm doing. And then she finally gave me the instructions. Then I was able to plant the tree, and it's thriving. So in the end, it all worked out, but we were having that kind of misunderstanding because she wasn't listening. She thought I was joking with her when I wasn't. I know I'm a joker and I like to make jokes and shit like that, but I wasn't at that time. And one of the things that I have noticed lately is that a lot of people struggle with communicating with their partners, just like I did. And they're having fights, just like I was having that argument with my wife about the tree, the money tree. But here's the thing again. If you don't work on your communication, your relationship will fall apart. This is not to scare you. This is not to make you think. This is the truth, though. So you have to trust me on this one, because working on your communication, it's worth the effort. Because imagine this, being in a relationship where both people feel heard, both people feel valued and respected. That's exactly what my wife and I have achieved by being open and honest with each other. And it's the key to a strong and healthy bond. But that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't, or if we hadn't worked on our communication. If we hadn't worked on our communication, probably we will still be fighting. We will still have arguments, petty arguments, like stupid arguments. You know what I mean? And when I tell people that communication will help the relationship a lot, they usually tell me, it's like, oh, but I know how to communicate. I talk to my wife. It's just that she doesn't understand me. Or the same thing with men. It's like, oh, well, my husband doesn't understand me. My boyfriend doesn't understand me. And this is why I tell them, communication is not just about having deep conversations or any type of conversation at all, because the little things count too. And when it comes to communication, you also have to take the time to ask your partner about their day, showing genuine interest in their hobbies, and sharing your own thoughts and experiences to keep the connection strong. A lot of people don't know what exactly that means, but this is what it means. It means that when your partner, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife comes home from work, or you come home from work, you should ask them, hey, how was your day? What did you do today? Even if they're a stay-home mom, don't assume that they don't do anything, that they just do cooking, taking care of the kids, cleaning the house, and that's nothing, because that's not the case. You need to ask them, hey, how was your day? How was work? How were the kids today? And you also need to show genuine interest in their hobbies. It's like, hey, I heard you. Remember you told me you like this. How come you don't do it? Shit like that. That way they also feel that they've been heard. And then when you need to talk to them, just tell them, hey, I need to talk to you. I'm going to share my thoughts on this issue. For example, an issue at work, or an issue that you have with one of the kids, or an issue that you have with a neighbor, shit like that. And that's what's going to keep the connection strong. That's what's going to help you connect more with your partner, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend, with your spouse. And also, remember that communication isn't just verbal. And this is where a lot of people get confused. And this is why I had to learn after my wife got sick. Because communication is also about understanding your partner's nonverbal cues. You have to be paying attention to their body language so you can actually understand their emotions and needs on a deeper level. And when you do that, that's actually going to create trust with your partner. Because here's what happened with me. After my wife got sick, after she was suicidal, depressed, and she was going through her darkest time at that point, I still had to go to work. I still had to make money. So I had to leave her alone, right? And every time before I left work, for work, I was like, how are you doing? She will always say, oh, I'm okay, I'll be okay. But I could tell that she was lying. Why? Because of her body language, because of her eyes. The eyes don't lie. She was sad. I could see the sadness. So I was like, one day I had to say, you know what? I know you're lying. I can read you like a book. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your body language. So I need you to tell me the truth. And then she told me, like, I'm not okay, but I don't want you to worry. And I was like, you know what? I understand. Let's come up with a plan. And the plan was that I will text her every 15 minutes. I will call her every hour just to make sure that she was okay. And it worked. She felt appreciated. She felt like she could trust me, that I would take care of her. Like, it created better things in our relationship because she understood that I got her back, that I won't leave, that I will take care of her. And it all started because we started to communicate better. So I started to read her body language and pay attention to the nonverbal cues, which in a lot of cases, it helps a lot, especially when your partner is depressed and you don't even realize it. Because you don't want to get to the point where your partner unfortunately commits suicide and you're like, you know what, I didn't know. And I have heard people say to widows that go like do something like that, well, you should read the body language, or you should look at his eyes or her eyes. And I'm like, that's fucked up. So that's why it's important to learn how to communicate, learn how to read the body language of your partner, and make them feel heard. Give them their space. Now, one of the things that happens a lot with communication or with people in this situation is that they don't understand that it's not just about communication. Communication is just the foundation, because building a strong relationship requires many, many, many things. But the most important one is communication. It's the foundation on which all other aspects of a relationship are built upon, like trust, loyalty, love. All of these things are built from communicating with your partner. Trust doesn't happen if you don't communicate. Loyalty doesn't happen if you don't communicate. Love doesn't happen if you don't communicate. And other things that happen during the relationship that are good for it will not happen if there's no communication. So make communication a priority in your relationship. And when you do that, you will watch your bond grow stronger day by day. Now, if you are in a situation like mine where, for example, even though you may be American and you were born here, but you don't know how to communicate exactly how you feel with your partner, or you don't know how to articulate words, one of the things that I recommend to do is that you can go to therapy, because therapy will help you, especially couples therapy. That will help you become more articulate with your words, because there's gonna be like a referee between the two of you, and you can say, well, like, this is how I feel, and then the therapist is gonna be like, let's go over that, and then they're gonna be able to help you articulate the correct words, especially if you're saying it wrong, just like I did. That way your partner doesn't feel offended. So it does help, and you have to put in that effort, because right now the divorce rate is so fucking high. It's like 50%. So you don't want to be part of that statistic. And if you don't want to be part of that statistic, then work on the most important foundation for a strong relationship. And then keep working on it, and then other things will fall into place. Like I mentioned, like loyalty, love, respect, and all of these things that you need to build to last forever in your relationship. Well, that's it for today. Thank you again for everything. Thank you for the growth and the feedback. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Remember to keep an open mind and engage in respectful discussions in the comments below. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so to stay tuned for more content. And here are my final thoughts. When you learn how to communicate, your partner will see you different. Your partner will begin to understand that you are with them for a reason, that you love them, that you actually care about them, that you want to get to know them. And that's going to build the strongest bond that nobody is going to get in between. And remember, all of this matters. And have a great day.